Hello, Mike White, Multimedia Solutions, and it's time again for my once a year review of InfoComm, and this year I have decided to really focus on trying to give a better high-level view rather than get too much down in the details that may not be of strong benefit, but I wanted to at least hit the high points and provide you some insight just in case you didn't get to go to InfoComm, or if you did get to go, maybe bring you some insight from the perspective of my team. This year, InfoComm took place in Orlando on June 12, 13, and 14 at the Orlando Convention Center. It was the absolute largest InfoComm that had ever taken place. Some 35,126 people, over 1 million square feet of manufacturers on the floor. It was simply the biggest and best show that we'd ever had. I do want to encourage you that if you would like to participate and go next year to InfoComm, it rotates between Vegas and Orlando. It will be the third week of June, which is a change. It's normally the second week, so it will be the third week of June. The dates for the show are June 18th through the 20th. Let me just give you some really brief highlights at the InfoComm side. First off, there's a new executive director, and with that, some new energy that brings some new direction, especially as our collaboration goes with IT, other organizations, and especially focused on international growth. InfoComm this year will grow its footprint and continue to make shows available in Europe and in Asia and in India, Dubai. It will also do a couple of shows in the South American region, and then it'll have its GovComm again in December. The diversity of InfoComm is even greater than it's ever been. This last year we celebrated our first international president, and this coming year will be our first woman that will be leading our international organization of over 5,000 members, and it's a very exciting time. This is a very positive move in all directions for InfoComm. Some things in a trade show, never change. You always see a lot of the same companies, but there were a lot of advancements this year at the InfoComm show, a lot of maturing of the convergence of AV, IT, and security, all of them operating with the connectivity in common. There's this continued trend of getting lighter weight flat panels, thinner flat panels without any bezels or the edges. Players in the same fashion, projectors keep getting brighter, stronger contrast, higher resolution, and all of it continues to be very price conscious and driven to bring you the most value for the dollar. We did have this year the opportunity to again sponsor the digital signage education showcase, and was privileged to be both Robert and I were privileged to be speakers at that forum, as well as I taught for InfoComm off the floor in a very large forum for universities. But you will see, and in the email that is accompanying this link to the video, some links to the videos that were actually taken at the show of our education events. We specifically spoke on two topics. That is, Robert and I, we spoke on topics associated with integrating digital signage with with emergency notification systems and interactive wayfinding. So when you, if you have any interest in that, there's some video online at our website that you can just take a look under the media section. We also spoke on how to avoid the tragedies of bad installations. You all have probably read or are aware of that there was some tragedies this last year associated with some panels and video walls falling, even a death in Birmingham. And we have a video that we did on the site there that might be of use to you, that just goes over the best practices of installation, so that you ensure that whether you're doing it internally or whether you're having a vendor do it, that you can ensure that all of the I's are dotted and T's are crossed to ensure safety as you go forward. Okay, let's get some specifics here, and let's just kind of fly through some of the highlights that I believe that would be helpful. LED technology continues to make a very strong impact in the AV industry, and I know that you've seen the billboards on the side of the highway being replaced from the static painted on or printed on signs to the new LEDs. But what I'm really speaking of is the very, very top pitch LEDs that are becoming a part of the digital signage indoor movement, and as far as being able to replace some of the video wobble applications, because the resolution is so tight and they look so good that it's absolutely worthy of consideration, and they continue to keep coming down in pricing as well. They're working with a lot of us integrators now, directly recognizing that we are a different avenue to go to marketplace, because a lot of the LED marketplace is moving to this high resolution. Screen manufacturers are heavy into supporting video conferencing collaboration environments, huddle rooms. What I'm meaning by that is, a few years ago, screens were just different surfaces, better gain, different ways of lifting the surface from the ground, or better mechanical devices. But today, when we went to places like Draper and Daylight and other great companies there that had screens, we found companies that were designing their screen to directly facilitate video conferencing enhancements, so that they could hold the camera just above or below the surface level, and ways of reinforcing that surface. They're getting into furniture that supports the small room huddle type of environment, either stand up and sit down tables, but very, very strong movement in the manufacturing area as far as the screen goes relative to supporting collaboration. Relative to the mounting companies, people there like Chief and Peerless and Premier, these companies are really doing a spectacular job of stepping up and making the mounting system so much more flexible. It used to be that when you were trying to do a video ribbon or a video wall, it was a nightmare to get all of those things lined up. Today, the manufacturers of the mounting hardware companies are doing such a great job of providing tools to allow you to go up with 2x2, 3x3, 4x4, or ribbons 4x1, or whatever. And these are already designed and engineered specific for the screens, and they go up letter perfect every single time. They're getting lighter weight, stronger. They're designing, these companies are also bringing in a lot of exciting designs, just like the screen companies are, for video conferencing and collaboration rooms, so that it's just a better look and feel for today's fast-paced meeting world, in which you need to come in and not worry about which button you've got to be able to press to make your presentation go. So look for a lot of advancement and a lot of reduced costs in the area of the actual mounting infrastructure. The projection manufacturers really made a strong showing at this show. Now, I'm not just talking about another new $500 projector. Candidly, many of today's quality manufacturers are actually getting away from the low-end manufacturers and leaving that marketplace to some of the, generic houses and stuff, because there's just simply not a good pricing model there, a good economic model there to support, selling a $300, $400 projector. But where they are making tremendous advances in the area of high output projectors, 10, 12, 16, 20, 25,000 lumens, flamethrowers that can just absolutely be used in the worst lighting conditions. Short throw lenses for new technology, lensless short throw devices that allow you to take very, very, very short distances and create a huge screen, very applicable for churches and auditoriums where you want to create a rear projection environment and you want to use a very bright projector and you don't want to go for custom 2-ounce mirror, or you don't have 40 feet of depth in there. Just very, very strong and powerful thing. The manufacturers are also doing a lot of integration with LED and lasers, so that they can produce bright projectors that no longer have to have a replacement lamp, at least not for the duration of that projector. It's more or less like, okay, if you burn this out, you've kept this projector for 7-8 years, and it's time to get a new projector. But look for the massive impact of the LED laser combination projectors that will allow extremely sharp, high resolution, bright, crisp, and do not have to have a spare bulb. It's just a very, very big movement in the industry. Flat panels. Wow. There's something special about seeing the new 4K flat panels, these new high resolution flat panels that are being introduced. Now, granted, it's not going to be something that you're going to rush out next week and automatically discard your existing HD panels for these new 4K, but I just reflect that, look for this in the next 2 to 3 years. It's remarkable at what this new 4K resolution is doing for the depth and color palette that allows you to embrace just a whole new level of video and business presentation because of this new higher resolution. But it brings on its own set of challenges that I'm going to speak to in a few minutes, because 4K resolution means that it's going to have a much greater bandwidth requirement for your switches, for all communications, and so we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. You're going to see more and more flat panels with different types of ways of interacting with it. Not only just touch screen, but gestures, and even to the point of watching one's eyeball to determine whether you're engaged with the screen. There's just so much in this area of enhancement. So look for new advances in the way that wayfinding kiosks interact with people, retail kiosks, ATMs. Look for this new level of interactivity to inexpensively turn all the flat panels, even video walls where they're using multiple panels, into a giant interactive surface, and multi-touch, to be able to not only just do it with one finger, but to have multi-touch so that you can rotate and do it just like you see it on television. Grab an object, rotate it, and then throw it away. It's just amazing. Another area that was significant more than ever at the show was streaming. Now, everybody has heard of streaming, but, well, not many people have embraced it yet. But there's more and more people looking for ways to distribute video content on IT backbone, control what the quality is from end to end, be able to secure who's watching it and what they're watching it, determine how long they watched it, and be able to control it all from one central source. Today's new streaming technology engines are, in fact, answering that question. Some new players in this world, like Xterity, making tremendous, powerful platforms available in very cost-effective format. New players to get into it. Now, while you've heard of the name Crestron, but you probably hadn't heard the name Crestron and streaming placed in the same sentence, nor have you probably heard them in the same sentence talking about a codec, and I'm going to talk about that in just a second. But look for companies like AMX, Crestron, to make streaming available out of their new room, their total room approach. I do want to mention to you the biggest challenge in streaming technologies, and it's not with the actual streaming technology itself. It's with just simply knowing how to handle HDCP compliant type of material. You still have to follow the rules and regulations for transmitting content that is protected, or HDCP compliance. And I would just encourage you that if you've got a streaming application that is soon to be a part of what you are going to consider for your organization, whether it be streaming to your employees, streaming to a school system, streaming in a hospital, or even if it's streaming from church to church to church for synchronized services, you really need to make sure that whoever that integrator is working with you understands the things that the streaming engines can do and the limitations to make sure that you don't have a gotcha down the road. Video conferencing, wow, there is some real paradigm shift going on there. Yes, there will continue to be infrastructure rooms with all the big players out there, you know, Lifesize and Polycom and Cisco, Tandberg. But look at all of the new creations that are happening on the cloud side, like video and bridging organizations that are creating cloud-based interoperability platforms so that their bridge can connect Skype and 323 and link calls and just all of these different flavors or formats, all of them together, talking on platforms like from BlueJeans and such. But continue to look for infrastructure rooms to get better, their cameras to get better, more light responsive. But a trend that you will see is you'll have less need for digital sound processors or handling the sound independently. More and more of the codecs are coming with their own built-in sound processor to lessen the investment for the room so that you can handle the challenges that are associated with distributing and picking up the sound in the room through these DSPs built in. Now, one of the things that is for sure taking place as we speak is the integration with the BYOD environment, the bring your own device. Be able to integrate with iPads and Droids and your iPhones and Droid phones. The ability to have interoperability with these appliances and the traditional rooms is certainly here, and if you haven't heard about it, it's something worthy of a phone call. Something that we saw happening more and more. While Microsoft Link is quote unquote not a international standard like H.323 and SIP and what will soon be 264, Microsoft Link, nevertheless, with the power of Microsoft, represents a standard within itself, and to do anything less than create interoperability for that platform is just simply shortcoming your design for long-term use of your system. We saw company after company after company delivering great solutions. Lifesize with their virtual bridging that allows you to natively include a link client as a part of their bridge. Crestron creating a whole new codec that comes out of the box in a room that to create a room that has link interoperability with SIP and 323 just out of the box. Just amazing technology in the video conferencing. Again, it goes without saying, just like the flat panels, just like the projectors, everything is coming down in price, everything is getting faster and lighter weight. Video walls were everywhere. Video walls, video ribbons. The reason, better ways to do video scaling and true video wall processing. Just in brief, when I say video scaling, I mean that you, in a video scaling environment, you set up a 2x2 or a 3x3, and internal to the panel itself, it has the ability to take the image that you would pump to the first screen and to split up that image over the number of screens. It uses the internal scaling capabilities and actually appears across all of the screens at the native resolution of the first panel it goes into. A great solution for video and things, but when you need the other side of the coin, when you need every dot addressable, there have been tremendous advances with Christie and RGB Spectrum and just a ton of companies that have made great advances in making video wall processors that have cost effectively made it possible now to create these network operations centers with very thin bezeled panels that will address every single pixel in every single panel, edge to edge, allow you to go cross mullions with your pictures and to create a continuous high resolution picture. Look for more and more video walls to be used architecturally, not just in a traditional aspect correct environment, but look for them to create architectural statements in their lobbies and stuff by creating multi-size panels or different orientations, even moving panels to create it out of video walls that will allow a dynamic new use of this type of technology for the architecture purpose. Command and control. They're no longer interested in just controlling a simple room. While that is certainly a part of every single command and control organization, whether it be Crestron or AMX or several of the other ones out there that have great systems, it is a fact that now their strategy is to control and provide comprehensive control over everything in a building. Everything from global lighting, HVAC, touching security, touching all the meeting spaces, every single element touched in a global type of fashion so that it all can work together to save energy and work together to provide less and less headache for those supporting team members. But look for the command and control environment to continue to come down. They've created new panels. Many of the manufacturers, they look just like iPads and Droid pads, very cost effective, very small, and very, very new modern design that allow you to just give a whole new look to your room and exciting relative to the command and control area. I want to reflect on some of the connectivity advancements that were made this year. Some of the things that some of the things that really are tremendous advancements are the extenders for the world of HDs, for the HDMI connectors. HDMI is a little bit tough to work with, especially when you've got to go over distances. But there have been a whole group of manufacturers out there that have now plenty of solutions to be able to take your cabling environment and be able to push it out there over long distances. There's a lot of organizations out there have developed a one cable solution that multiplex all of the sources over a single Cat5, Cat5e, or Cat6 cable and be able to provide command and control signal and audio, all of this out to the thing over one single cable. I do want to briefly touch on the HD-based technology. It's not quite as standard yet, but certainly you need to recognize the terminology HD-based T. It is one of these technologies in which they're multiplexing all of the signals down one cable, including there is even the capability of supporting some low power displays over a single cable. Yes, it is totally possible that within the next year or two that you will see a single cable connector in the size of something like a Cat5, Cat5e, or Cat6 that will run to your display, carry every signal that it needs to cooperate or needs to provide the solution of content there, and it includes power. What a game changer. You don't even have to have your electrician to bring over that. And don't forget DisplayPort. It's not out of the picture. In fact, DisplayPort is in fact the only comprehensive answer for handling the new increased bandwidth that is associated with the 4K world that is upon us. It can have a continuous bandwidth of over 17 gigabytes per second. That is the new DisplayPort. So look for DisplayPort options as well as we go down the road. So I just I've mentioned to you this 4K thing. I want to give you just a little bit of geek. When I talk about 4K, I'm talking about it's like HD in the fact that it doesn't represent just one resolution or one particular screen setting. In fact, under the 4K banner, the most common one is 3840 by 2160. That's 3840 by 2160. But there are others within that same grouping of 4096 by 2160, all the way up to 4096 by 3112. All of those are big numbers, just meaning that the bandwidth is increased to allow for this superior resolution, which allows a superior contrast and a greater color palette. It's just amazing what they're doing with this. Look for audio to continue to increase its capability of being wireless and to be able to walk into a room and be flawless without having to worry about room combining and things of that nature. Let me give you a couple of quick resources before that. Social media continues to be an important part. I mean, the internet is only 6,000 days old. Social media is growing the use of the internet and stuff so much. One of the places that you might consider picking up current videos and current articles about our industry is an organization called RAVE, R-A-V-E. It is a great source in our industry for current articles. Just do a Google search on it and it'll be able to help you to quickly to capture that social media side of things. Let me just close by saying that digital signage was certainly alive and well at the show. More and more people attended the digital signage showcase than ever before. But what was significant is that the maturing of the industry has allowed less and less differentiation between what we used to call entry-level players, middleware type of things, and enterprise level. Because the entry level have matured, the middleware, there are so many great digital signage packages, but it makes it even tougher for you, the end user, to be able to sift through or to evaluate all the different choices that are out there. In fact, it's an impossibility. There are over 300 that I have in my spreadsheet alone, and I'm sure there's more. The key is that whoever you're working with, whether it be an integrator or whether you choose to go directly with a manufacturer, that you make sure that everything that you are promised that can be demonstrated, and make sure that somebody is asking more questions than they are just feeding you lines about all the wonderful things that it will do. But within the digital signage world, you're seeing a reduction in the footprint of players, playing things like Droid players, and you're seeing an increase in wayfinding. You're seeing an increase in interactivity and integration with emergency notification system. You're seeing more and more room systems to tell what's going on just outside the room. The cost is coming down for players, software, data that used to only be handled by the enterprise level players are now absolutely a part of just about everything. So the market for audiovisual, IT, security, integration just continues to get better. It becomes more cost effective every single day. It's coming faster to the market. It's more service driven. And I really appreciate you taking this time to hear me rattle on about the things about InfoComm. We are an audiovisual systems integration company. We want you to think about it's more about what we know than what we sell. We are a company that looks for the best tool to fit a need that you have. If we can be of service to you, please give us a call. We would be honored to serve you as a consultant or as an integrator or as a total project management team. We appreciate the opportunity to be considered. Thank you very much and have a blessed week.